Peace and blessings. Welcome back to the channel once again, where we talk all things health and healing from a holistic perspective, and today will be no different. Today we're going to talk about the liver. It's important that we have this conversation around the liver because the liver is the primary thing that's being assaulted in our body after we think about the gut, okay? And what happens is when we lose the function of the liver, we lose some major functions that lead to dysfunction or dis-ease in the rest of our bodies. And so first, let's start with what are the primary functions of the liver that we're losing as a result of the accumulation of toxins in it? Because one of the things that most people know and understand about the liver is that it's the master organ of detoxification, okay? But what other people don't know, it's the second largest organ in our bodies after our skin, okay? Our skin is the largest organ, and the liver is the second largest, but also the liver is the only organ in our bodies that's truly capable of regenerating itself. We can lose almost 70% of our liver and regenerate our liver, okay? Now that should tell you how important the liver is, okay? If we have a body part that is capable of completely regenerating itself, okay? It's telling you that the body understands how important it is, okay? And now most people, when they think about the liver, they think about alcohol or they think about, that's how I get the toxins out of my body, but they don't understand the full scope of the liver, okay? And the liver, after the gut, is one of the primary things that's being assaulted, especially when it comes to this new standard American diet that we're consuming. And so when you think about the liver, let's think about some of those functions. Okay, we all know detoxification. Okay, and what that means specifically is that when you bring anything in your body that it can't recognize, that it can't utilize, that it can't absorb, that can't be eliminated, then the liver has to figure out what to do with it, okay? Now, this is a relatively new concept, especially at the level that we're assaulting the liver today, because the vast majority of the ways that the liver is being assaulted today really didn't exist, 60 years ago, okay? There were no processed foods in supermarkets, in the early 1900s, okay? And so when you think about the grand scheme of things on the human timeline of existence, the way that we're harming our health today is very different from the way that we've been living for the last hundreds of thousands of years, okay? So that's the primary thing, all right? So that's why our livers are being assaulted. But one of the primary functions of the liver is to detox the body, okay? To take something that is in the body in a harmful form and make it a less harmful form to be excreted out of the body, okay? That's one of the primary things that the liver does, okay? But it also has a lot of other functions as well too. And that includes making glycogen, so storing sugar, okay, to be used whenever the body needs it, vitamins, minerals, it also stores those as well too. It also is really important for making these plasma proteins called albumins, okay? These albumin proteins are essential, to our bodies as well. It's also essential for not only metabolizing fats, but also proteins and carbohydrates as well too. Also hugely important for bile production, and bile is the thing that emulsifies fat. It breaks down fats. So all of the fats that you eat in your diet, they have to be broken down. And guess what does it? Bile. And guess where that is made? In the liver, okay? Now it's stored in the gallbladder, but it's made in the liver. So when you lose the function of the liver, you lose the function to be able to create bile, which means that you can't break down or emulsify your fats, which means that you can't make your fat-soluble vitamins, okay? You can't pull those out, okay? So it's hugely important. The implications of losing the function of it has other implications as well too. So bile production and excretion is very important as well too. And then also the excretion of bilirubin, cholesterol, hormones, drugs, any excess hormones that are in the body that need to be pushed out. Guess what does that? The liver. So if you have an excessive amount of estrogen, for the ladies and even men out there who have estrogen dominance in their body, it could be you have that hormonal imbalance because you don't have good function in your liver. Your liver is so saturated with toxins or saturated with fat that it can't actually produce the action to excrete this excess estrogen out of the body, and other hormones as well too. So your hormonal imbalance could be coming from your liver dysfunction. Okay, so that's one of the primary things that I tell people who have hormonal imbalance. You got to get your liver health together. Okay, also cholesterol synthesis. The liver makes 80% of the cholesterol in our bodies. I know most people probably didn't know that. 80% of the cholesterol that you need in your body, and you need cholesterol. Cholesterol is literally in virtually every cell in the body. 37 trillion cells in the body, and the body needs cholesterol in the cell membrane of all those cells. Okay, so without the function of the liver, you start to lose that function as well too, which means that the cells aren't going to replenish in the way that they need to. They're not going to have that replenished cell membrane, and you're going to start to see a lot of cellular dysfunction as well too. So hugely important. And as I said, the liver is the master detoxification organ. So what I want to get into now is some of those signs and symptoms that tell you that you have a sluggish liver, okay? Because the liver can be in many different states. It could be in a state of a fatty liver, okay, where there's too much fat. And that fatty liver could lead to, fibrosis and or cirrhosis, okay, where the tissues become hardened and stiff and don't function the way that they need to, okay? The toxicity could accumulate in the liver to a level where the liver itself is completely toxic. And now, as a result, those toxins that have accumulated are now causing dysfunction and inflammation in the liver as well, too. So now you have a condition known as hepatitis, where that liver is literally inflamed. Okay, so let's get into what are some of those signs and symptoms. I'm going to give you signs and symptoms that you can detect at home, but I'm also going to give you signs and symptoms that when you go into your doctor, they don't necessarily always associate these sort of signs and symptoms when you get your lab values back with a sluggish liver, but they should definitely. So elevated LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. So when your bad cholesterol is elevated, it could be as a result of a sluggish liver. As I said before, if your liver isn't functioning properly, it could not be metabolizing and breaking down that cholesterol at the level that it should. So the cholesterol levels will be elevated. Okay, because not only does the liver make 80% of the cholesterol, it's also responsible for metabolizing and breaking down a lot of that cholesterol too. Okay, so if you lose that function, all of a sudden you can have elevated LDL levels, which is AKA the bad cholesterol. And I'm using air quotes because it's not all bad, okay? And that's for another video that you definitely should check out, okay, that I'm doing on cholesterol. Also, you'll notice reduced levels of HDL, which is the good cholesterol. And this good cholesterol is the precursor for sex hormones. Okay, so your estrogen, your testosterone, your progesterone, those sex hormones, they require HDL, the good cholesterol, as a precursor as a backbone. And without it, you don't make them. So some people could actually be deficient in estrogen or deficient in testosterone in my men. Okay, and as a result, you'll notice this, for the men, you'll notice that men with low testosterone are going to be not as motivated or assertive. You'll notice that they'll be more of a couch potato and trying to figure out, why can't I get motivated? Lower testosterone levels could also lead to erectile dysfunction. Lower testosterone levels could mean that no matter how much you work out at the gym, you don't build muscle. Okay, lower testosterone levels can lead to balding, losing hair. It could lose the belly fat and overall fat in the body. It could lead to depression. Okay, and we're just talking about from having a sluggish liver and not having enough HDL to be able to make these sex hormones. Okay, same thing for women. For young ladies, if they have an issue with their liver, they may not develop the way they should be. Okay, they may have also issues around their health as well. I won't jump into those. That's another video, but it's important to know and understand a sluggish liver could lead to you not having enough HDL, because remember what I said, the liver is responsible for making 80% of the cholesterol in our bodies. You'll notice also high triglycerides, okay? And High triglycerides are the things that lead to arteries being occluded or closed off, which could lead to strokes and heart attacks. Okay, hugely important. You also may notice when you go into your doctor, and these are again like lab values that you'll get from your doctor, you may have elevated ALT and AST liver enzymes. Okay, they may be elevated, but sometimes your liver enzyme test can come back normal, even though you have a unhealthy liver. So it's not always that they're elevated. They're not always elevated. So it's important for us to know and understand that too. But that could be a sign and symptom when you do see them elevated as well too. You also notice when you have a sluggish liver, you're gonna see weight gain as well too. So if you've been doing everything you needed to do, you've been eating correctly, you've been exercising, and you just cannot lose weight, it could be as a result of a sluggish liver as well too. Heart disease as well too. A bloated belly. Okay, you'll definitely notice that when you have a sluggish liver, you'll notice that you're bloated all the time. Okay, also constipation. As I was telling you guys before, the liver is responsible for making bile to emulsify fat. It's also responsible for metabolizing or breaking down carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So if you lose the function, now these foodstuffs aren't breaking down. So now they're accumulating in the gut and they're plugged up because they're not, food has to be broken down to be eliminated. Okay, and if it can't be broken down, it can't be processed so that it can be eliminated. Okay, this is why when it comes out on the other end, it doesn't look like food because it's gone through a metabolization, being metabolized. Okay, it's going through a process. So it has to go through a process to be able to be eliminated. You've never seen something you ate, with the exception of things like corn, okay, completely unmetabolized and comes out of the other end. It has to be broken down, okay? And if it can't be broken down, it's just gonna sit there, which is constipation. You also notice with some people will notice a loss of appetite as well too, as a result of having a sluggish liver. Skin issues, rashes, eczema, itching, psoriasis, boils and moles. That could be a sign of a sluggish liver as well. Hormonal imbalance that I mentioned before, you'll notice fibroids, hot flashes, mood swings, heavy cycles for women, and cysts on the ovary, cysts in the breast, okay? As a result of, issues with your liver being sluggish, okay? Filled with toxins. Swollen feet, you'll notice that as well too. That could be a definite sign of a sluggish liver as well too. Easy bruising. You notice that, you open a door and it just barely hits your hand and you get bruised. Okay, easy bruising could definitely be a sign and symptom of a sluggish liver. Yellowing of the eyes. So when the whites of your eyes aren't white like they need to and they have this slightly yellow coat, that could be a definite sign that you have a sluggish liver as well. And then chronic fatigue. Chronic fatigue, you're tired all the time, could definitely be a sign and symptom because, again, your liver is trying to do the work, but it just can't do it because it's having to overwork because it's loaded with toxins, it's loaded with fats, and that's causing the dysfunction and it's causing the inflammation and it's trying to do the work, okay? So you'll notice that your liver sits here, okay? And so it will cause your belly to be bloated, not only because it's inflamed, but also because those foods aren't able to be metabolized and broke down, okay? And also because those fats or cholesterol isn't able to be metabolized and broke down. But also you'll notice, last sign and symptom, you'll notice a pain right here at the upper abdomen of your liver. If you start to feel a pain on this right side here, that could definitely be a sign that you have a sign of a sluggish liver, okay? Now, it's hugely important you know and understand when it comes to our liver, there's a lot of things that we can do, but the most important thing, bar none, is what we eat, okay? What we consume in our diet, shifting our diets. And one of the things that I always tell people is that, and I write about this in my book, Education Over Medication, I have a chapter called Digestive Rest. And you can give yourself digestive rest by still eating. But what I like to do is have a lot of green smoothies, green juices. So I'm getting my nourishment in that way. Okay, with a green smoothie, I can get so many different things into one meal, because a smoothie could literally be a meal. Okay, same thing with green juices. I get all of this nourishment in my body in the form of liquid, and my body doesn't have to do all this work to break it down because it's already in liquid form. So, giving your body an opportunity to have digestive rest could be very helpful for your liver as well too, because now the liver isn't having to do the work that it needs to do to break down those proteins, carbohydrates, fats, carbs, etc. Okay, so it's important that we know and understand giving our body rest and eating the right things is hugely important too. All right, and fasting is hugely important too. It gives the not only the liver but the body an opportunity to heal too. I tell people, your body heals when you're resting. That's when your body repairs, especially when you're resting in the form of sleeping as well too. That's when our body rebuilds and repairs. So making sure you get an adequate amount of sleep, eating certain foods that are really essential and healthy to the liver as well too is very important. Bitters, in particular, bitter herbs, bitter green leafy vegetables like arugula is very healthy to the liver as well. And then the last thing, which I always mention, is detoxing. And all detoxes are not created equal. So I highly recommend that you understand, if you get a detox, make sure you get a full body detox, okay? Now, of course, I have one, and many of you have done my detox, but what's important to understand about a detox, it should literally detoxify and, cleanse the entire body, okay? It should be getting rid of parasites. It should be getting rid of yeast, okay? Because most people have a yeast overgrowth. It also should be getting rid of heavy metals. It also should be getting rid of that 10 to 25 pounds of undigested fecal matter that is just sitting there, rotting, fermenting in your gut, because most people have that amount of waste in their body. All right. It should be also getting rid of excess body fluids that are just sitting there and causing your body to be not only inflamed, but to be swollen. It also should be getting rid of a lot of the cellular waste as well too, okay? And the most important thing, it should be opening up all the elimination channels to get rid of all this waste. Opening up the bowels, opening up the kidneys, opening up the skin, the lymphatic system, opening up, cleaning out the liver as well too. And so make sure if you're doing a detox, don't just do a liver detox, okay? Don't just do a kidney detox, all right? You got to understand, for the liver specifically, most importantly, the liver doesn't have an outlet, like the bowels, like when you're cleaning out the digestive system, the bowel is the outlet. The liver doesn't have an outlet like the kidneys, which we urinate that out in the form of uric acid. Okay, so when we are cleaning and detoxifying the liver, which is the master detoxification organ, which has the vast majority of the toxins in our bodies, okay? It's processing the vast majority of those. You have to give it an outlet for it to be eliminated. And certain toxins don't go out through the bowels. Some of them are liquid, and sometimes they go through the skin. Some of them have to be urinated out. Some of them have to go out through the bowels, okay? Depending on the type of toxin it is, okay? And the liver makes the decision to do that, which form it converts that toxin into. All right, so this is why it's so important to do a full body detox that opens up all of those elimination pathways. So you can check mine out on my website, drbobbyprice.com. And also make sure when you go to the website and you look at the 14-day to 28-day, stroll down to the bottom, look at the reviews on them. I want you to check out the reviews on detox, what people are saying, and it'll give you a full idea of why they improved, and a lot of those things that I was mentioning are a sign of a sluggish liver. Not only those things, but many more as well too. All right. Thanks for watching this video, but be sure to check the next video out that's right here. But everything I talk about is how do we take a holistic and natural approach to healing other than a man-made approach? And also, how do we prevent dis-ease in the body as well too? Because, they say